Thank you, everyone, for being here. I truly appreciate it. I know time is our most valuable asset, so I would love to just pour into each one of you and to be here for just a few moments. So do me a very small favor if you can. If you're driving, if you're sitting still, if you're walking, let's take two really, really deep breaths of intention. And as you are breathing in just for a moment, just to collect yourself as a man, I would love to share one small aspect of my life with all of you here. I say and welcome all of you here with a great morning, because I don't think that we went through everything that we went through, gentlemen. All the heartache and the heartbreak and the toiling and the stress and the work and the long nights and the going to sleep last and the waking up first for good. I think we deserve more than good in our life. So I say great morning to all of you. What we're here to do is I am dedicated to provide true value today, and both give you information and also tell you about something that I'm creating. But this is the very first class I'm opening up for the whole world, everyone who wants to be here, who's watching the recording, or who is here live in person. But welcome to the first edition of the Roundtable. This is a perfect accountability group for the 1% man. And that's what we are all here for. Right? We are all here to be the best versions of ourselves. Type in a 9 if you know that that's something that you're striving for every day. You have the ability to access the keyboard, right? Or Phil's throwing up the 9 as he's driving. I love it. We are here to be the best versions of ourselves. And again, most men at some stage, you might feel that you're trying to be the best version of yourself for your wife. Maybe you're trying to be the best version for yourself for your kids. All that's amazing. But very, very often I have seen in the past that men are trying to be the best versions of themselves for others. But when you start shining that deep, bright light on your heart and how you can become an even better version of you, then everything really begins to shift. So I want to start with, just for a quick moment, there was a program I created about 2.5 years ago called the Divine King. And what that program consisted of, just so that you're aware, was a Monday morning men's group discussion for 7 weeks. And then we did a wealthy deep dive coaching session on Saturday mornings. These calls were early in the morning. And on the West Coast where I live now, at 7:30 a.m., just got back from a nice little ice bath experience with some of my dudes here in Cali. But the most important part that I feel like, and I know all of you have seen on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, you've seen millions of other men's groups and accountability groups. But one of the things that created a different and unique change in this particular program was weekly physical and spiritual alignment practices. If we lose our connection to God, if we lose our connection to ourselves, if we lose our connection to our creator or to the universe, that's a really, really rough place to be. And so I created that actually because my wife has a class as well called the Divine Queen. And what happened, gentlemen, is my wife is working with and was working alongside of hundreds of gorgeous, rich, talented, powerful women who were single or in a really shitty relationship, and they're like, where's all the great guys at? And my wife asked me specifically to begin building this program about 2.5 years ago, because she felt it was such a huge calling. It was something that was severely underserved. And I want to share all of you, I know where a lot of the pain comes from as a man and as men, because here's a quick story time. Look at this photo. Come on. I got the same fucking shirt on, by the way, just so that we're clear. Same shirt today, because Ramey sent me this photo. Ramey's here joining me in the class today, and he actually was also part of the recent Kings program. But let me really pour into why I built this class. And that is because I am aware, gentlemen, of the vices and the plagues that attacks men. And I am also aware that that particular hurdle, those challenges, are very, very difficult for us. And I'm also fully aware that we are the last to receive thanks for the work that we do. And we are beat up, we are tired, we are underappreciated, we are slapped around. And then if we get divorced or there's a split up, we're the very, 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 very last person to be considered. I think you all can probably relate to that. A lot of you probably can. Where you know, and you probably feel like your mental health at some stage is taxed because every day you're waking up before everyone else, you're working harder than everyone else to do everything for everyone else all the time, and then you go to sleep after everyone's asleep, and you got to pay the bills. And so there's a really, really big weight on us. And that weight literally might show up as a eating disorder, drinking disorder, mental health disorder, or 90% of you watching this right now are addicted to porn. You're addicted to drugs. Let's call it nicotine, right? Let's call it your vape pen. Let's call it the weed pen. Let's call it Adderall. Let's call it whatever. And we can easily justify it, right? Men saying, oh man, it takes the edge off. It makes me feel better. Or some individuals out there are going to proclaim this as a healing agent, right? Oh man, go on a nice ayahuasca trip, take some DMT, take some MDMA. It's going to really, really help you. It'll help heal you. If you have to take something to heal yourself, when yourself is what created the problem, it's an inverse relationship. And I'm sharing all this with you as this is me. This is the guy right here in this photo doing all those things. On drugs, drinking too much, eating too much, addicted to porn. Feeling like there was a better life for me out there, but just having no idea how to actually have it. Knowing that I deserved more money, I deserved more time, I deserved a higher quality, higher caliber of woman in my life, but not feeling worthy of having her. Those were some of the challenges that were facing me. And I think this photo says it all. Now, we've all probably been in this stage at some point in our life. Is that a Bud Light? Drinking a Bud Light, eating a turkey leg type of stage. Or you're just kind of low and life just isn't that awesome, but you know that life can be better. Let me make sure that my dude's in here. He is. Calvin, you wouldn't believe it, but Calvin made the next story.
What's up?
My dude. Calvin, I know you're driving. I know you're
That's
driving.
okay.
Can you give me a 3-minute? Why did you join the last King's course in October, and how's your life changed since then?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay. Well, I mean, to be honest, a lot of what Jeremy's talking about, those are all things I've struggled with. Porn, alcohol, drugs, nicotine. I mean, you name it. Eating like shit, binge eating, honestly. Like, I've struggled with all those things throughout my life, sometimes more than others at different times. But when the King's course came around, I was specifically really struggling with drinking, like a lot. I was drinking like probably half a bottle of bourbon every night. If not every night, then definitely every other night. In the year like 2022, 2023, I probably was hungover half the days. And, you know, I was with a girl that I wasn't 100% happy with, but it was good enough, you know, like my money, my income, it was good enough. I was able to pay my bills, but deep down, I was like really depressed. And, you know, Jeremy invited me. He's like, dude, come take the men's course. And I was like, he's like, dude, just do it. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. Because Jeremy's been like always a really bright, shining light in my life. I met him on the island. That's funny you have that picture up right now. So I jumped in and like, you know, day one, he's like, all right, no nicotine, no caffeine, no alcohol. And he's like naming off all these things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no porn. I'm like, this is going to be freaking hard. But just went for it. You know, we did all the exercises, and one of the exercises that really just was like mind blowing is we did this kind of like dark energy exercise where I know it sounds weird, but you just go into a closet, turn the lights off, and you just like tap into like kind of the darker side of being a man, like the almost the violent side, and just you just tap into it for like 30 minutes. And sort of the vision I had was that like, and I don't know if this is like a past life regression or what, but basically it was a very like violent encounter I had, like it seemed like hundreds of years ago, and like after it happened, I like drowned my sorrows in alcohol. And I remember sharing that with Jeremy, and he's like, yeah, dude, like that is like that shows that alcohol is tied to a very dark part of yourself. It's not like a celebration or a party thing or like a happy thing. It's like actually a really dark thing. So I got through the 6 weeks, no drinking. I was like, this is awesome. And then of course the course ended, and I went right back to it because why not? The course is over. And when I went back to it, I was like, oh my gosh, like now I really see how this like is destroying my life. Because when you're in it, you don't see it that much. So New Year's rolled around, and I was like, you know what? Me and Jeremy had talked about it. He challenged me. He was like, why don't you take the whole year off drinking? And like it scared me. I was like, I don't know if I want to do that, bro. That sounds really like hard. But I got to the point where I was like, I need to try this. And he was like, dude, do this and watch how your income increases. So I was like, okay, I got nothing to lose, right? And at the time, I was probably making a little under $100,000 a year, maybe like in that 70, 80 range, just between all my clients and stuff. So I quit drinking, and I kid you not, in like 6 months, I got out of that relationship. I moved back to Nashville, and like my income has increased, like not kidding, between like 5 and 10x, depending on the month. So I say all that to say that that's just one part of the course. That's just one part, right? And there was like 10 parts that were beneficial to me. And there's parts I'm still working on, right? I mean,
Same
the
here.
porn, the nicotine, you know, the porn, the nicotine, it's still a struggle for me. But just getting that one thing out of my life was a zillion times worth the course. A zillion times. Like just that. And I can't even imagine. And I'm so happy you're doing this roundtable thing now, because now I'm ready to tackle the other things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, when I get all these other things out of my life, it's just crazy. It's a really, really valuable thing. And I attribute a lot of what's happened this year in my life to that. So thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for saying yes to greatness. Because, gentlemen, here's the truth, right? What Calvin's mentioning, and every one of you probably feels, is our vices and our leisure time and our relaxing time controls us right now. And when we're by ourselves, alone with our thoughts, you don't know what to do. That's the truth. And it's uncomfortable, it's scary, it's weird, you don't like it. That's why you don't spend time in silence. That's why none of you have spent 12 hours on a park bench by yourself with a notebook and a pen on a weekday ever. For you, right? 12 hours just for yourself on a Wednesday, pouring into you. And your brain's going to say, dude, I got bills, bro, right? Like I got things to do. We're always going to have bills. We're always going to have things to do. But you, gentlemen, you're treating your life as you are not the most important player in your game. And we are. You're the most important player in your game. And there are tweaks that you can make. There are shifts, there are alterations, there are spiritual practices, there are meditations, there are beliefs, there are opportunities to shift so boldly that you truly change the landscape. Because this is the truth. The truth is, when we heal the men, we will heal the nation. The brokenness of this country, is in direct proportion to the brokenness of men. And we all know that to be true. 85% of individuals that are incarcerated have one thing in common. We got all the colors on the phone call right now, right? We got the whole rainbow spectrum of races here. Has nothing to do with race, has nothing to do with income. What is it?
Mindset.
Not even mindset. That's a good answer, but it's not even mindset. It's they don't have any dads. If they grew up in a fatherless household, gentlemen, they're going to jail. Me and Ramey and my cousin Derek, who are here on this call, grew up in arguably one of the poorest places you can grow up in the United States of America as a white man. Now, that was our reality. Cool. But the cool and different and tweak unique change is I didn't go to jail, and I easily could have because my dad was there every single day. And I know, and Ramey knows, and my cousin Derek knows, many other people who lived right next to me in the exact equal poorness of the place that we were in. No AC, no running water, that didn't have dads, and where'd they end up? That's why you're important, gentlemen. We are important. And although people don't tell us that, and although a lot of individuals don't share that with us, what's amazing about groups like this is high-performing, high-conscience men who are dedicated to greatness. It's a time and a place for all of us to kind of get together and not complain. We're not allowed to complain. We're not allowed to talk negative about what other people are doing in our life, especially your wife, your boss, Joe Biden or Donald Trump, right? You're not allowed to complain. You can bring out what's the truth, and then you can tell me what you're doing about it because it's your fault. That's the truth, gentlemen. It's your fault. And lastly, it's our fault as men because men are pack animals. We forget that 700 years ago, what were we doing? Me, Tashar, Jose, Darren, and Chuck would take some spears and take some swords and go hunt down our food. That's what we would do. And if someone got in our way, we'd fight them and we'd kill them. Obviously, society has become much better than that. But the truth is that warrior mentality lives in every single one of us. And I will start with telling you all this story. You all heard this story, but I'm gonna give you a different twist to it. There's a young boy, and this young boy is talking to his dad, and he asks his dad about going to war. Dad, should I go to war? And the dad says, son, there are two wolves within every man. You have the light wolf and you have the dark wolf. The light wolf is the one that protects, heals, helps, shepherds, provides, loves, cares, and watches out for every other person in the village. Then he says, son, we also have the dark wolf. And the dark wolf is the angry, mean, hateful, vengeful, prideful, revengeful. This dark wolf is the one that will eat and kill anyone else in its way. And then the boy says, well, which wolf wins? And the dad says, the one that you feed the most. The big shift for me was the word most. You see, gentlemen, a lot of you are feeding the light wolf a little bit, and you think you're feeding the dark wolf by giving it a bunch of drugs, right? Give it a couple shots of bourbon, a couple hits on that vape pen, an edible, little MDMA, nothing crazy. Just a sprinkle of ecstasy. You think that you're feeding the dark wolf by doing some drugs and by getting really hammered and by watching a lot of porn. That's neither wolf. But the truth is, we do have to feed that dark wolf. That's the word, the most, right? You have to feed both of them. And most of us aren't truly feeding either wolf, meaning we're not really alive. We're existing. I actually asked some guy the other day. There's a grocery store down the road called Ralph's, and we're just talking at the checkout, you know how people do. I was like, so man, tell me, how's your life? He was like, I'm existing. Now, some of you, though, that word hits your heart a little too close. You're like, shit, dude, I'm existing. We have to be accountable, but men have to grow together. We have to bleed together. We have to sweat together. We have to get angry together. We have to build together. Men were created to create. So we're women. But we all know that we do it differently. Right. And so in that space of creation, we have to figure out ways for all of us as men to create the absolute best version of ourselves. So just as a quick informational, why am I here? Who am I specifically? A lot of you may know these aspects of me, but a lot of you might not. My wife has her doctorate in metaphysics. And for the last 4 years, I have spent immense amount of time learning different aspects hands-on about healing and healing modalities. But before I met my wife, I did a lot of deep inner work because I was spiritually pretty beaten up and I didn't have a lot of purpose. I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of direction. I didn't have a lot of admiration. I didn't have a lot of anything. So I started learning how to uncover. And if you're taking notes, just write this word down with me. There's just one word I want you to write down. There's a panel. I was on a panel of 4 people, very, very successful people. I was probably the least affluent, the least successful, the least accomplished. I barely felt like I deserved to be there. And people were asking me, what's one thing that you wish you did differently in your success journey? Something you should have done earlier. You should have done this differently. You should have changed it. And I was the last person to get picked. And the other people on the panel were real estate professionals or so on and so forth, worth whatever, a couple $100 million or $1 billion. And most of their answers were real estate related. Oh, I wish I would have held real estate longer. I wish I didn't sell that property on 46 Chastain Boulevard. My answer was, I wish I would have healed earlier. So write that word down, heal. Heal. I know at some point in your life, gentlemen, I know you feel tired. I get it. It's probably like 1 o'clock in the afternoon where you're like, I can't take a nap, but I want to. I'm tired. I'm going to drink or eat this thing that's going to make me feel better because deep down inside, I have no fucking energy and I am drained. I know you feel that way because that's the state of the world right now. You feel drained. And the way you shift that energy, my friends, is you begin to heal. So this is what I've been working on for a very, very long time. I know how to do it because I've done it myself. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I love doing really, really hard things. This is a very small list of some of the ones that sucked the most. Some people ask me, what's the hardest thing that I've done, the most challenging? And it probably won't stand out to you, but it was this one. 14,000 jump ropes in a day. It might sound like a lot. It's not really that much. That was like 15, 16 hours. But what did really create a very, very unique pain was towards the last 1,000 jump ropes, I had a migraine of unbelievable proportions. I couldn't open my eyes because the rattling, I'd never done the challenge before. I never really like worked up to doing jump ropes. It was for charity. So, unbelievable pain. And all I remember is right as I finished, I ate 3 bananas, I took a handful of Excedrin migraine, took a emergency, like a vitamin C thing, and just went right to sleep. It was very, very painful. The rest, I actually enjoyed the finish line. But I have done the work, my man. That's what I'm here to tell you. I've done the work. I know where you're at. I know how to fix whatever you need to be fixed. And if I don't, my wife will. That's the way it works. And I'm aware and present to the depths of masculine power. I know it's darkness. But the best part is, I know how to tap into energy that is unparalleled and never ending. Gentlemen, how would you like to create that switch? It's not a monster, right? It's not an energy drink. is an internal awareness. It is a light switch that I can turn on for you where you know precisely and exactly how to get into that moment. And when you need it, when you harness it, the energy is there. Doesn't mean that it has to always be there, but it's available. And as part of the roundtable, this is very special and extremely new. I would love to welcome your co-guide because no great leader is by himself. This is a man that I look up to. This is one of my mentors. He's here on this call, and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hey, thank you, everyone. Jeremy, I love you, brother. And God bless you for allowing me to be a part of this adventure with you all. Hello, everyone. It's great to connect with you. My name is Chuck Hogan. And yeah, I'm a very grateful man. Jeremy is a dear friend. Thank you for saying I'm your mentor, brother. You're a muse to me. You are my brother from another. You're my counterpart. And I love just brainstorming because my mind explodes every time we have a conversation. For those of you that don't know me, I've been around the world of, I'll just say, self-development, and I don't even like using that term. I just call it life enhancement because I don't believe any of you gentlemen is broken, and neither am I. I'm a devoted husband for the last 36 years to my divine queen, Julie. I have 3 amazing kids, Coleman and Keely. And for me, it's really been an adventure about improving self because I never felt worthy enough. I've been that guy that put in 100-hour plus weeks working and trying to figure out why I gave everyone the best of me and my family only got what was left of me. Trying to figure out why I wasn't happy and yet I had success. You know, I'm an accomplished martial artist. I competed in gymnastics at a very high level. I was a senior trainer for Tony Robbins for 22 years. I thought that filling up meant giving away all my time. The thing that's most valuable and that many of you do and you don't even freaking realize it, that God gave you the blessing of 24 hours in a day. Yet if you were like me, the way I was squandering it. I wasn't living in a space of grace. I loved one aspect of my time with Tony more than anything else, and that is for about the better part of a decade, I got to open up for the man on stage. So if you've ever seen the movie I'm Not Your Guru, that documentary, I'm about this tall in the video, but you'll see me. Tony's a little taller than me. And what was amazing is that I actually got to lead crew members. So anyone who's ever been to a Tony Robbins event, if you saw those people in black shirts, I was the guy behind those people, all 600 of them, running around, trying to make sure that the people were having a great time being served. See, I have a servant heart. I've spent my entire 57 years on this planet feeling worthy in the pursuit of it and what that looks like. So for the last 20 years, I was actually mentoring and coaching and strategizing with C-suite executives from all different walks of life, from companies that have 7, 8, 9, 10 figures in their spreadsheets. But why? Why am I here? Because Jeremy called me out. Damn it. Yes, he did. He said, you know what? When are you going to stop playing small? When are you going to step up? When are you going to start sharing what you've learned and not in a small way? And I got to tell you, I've got a PhD in one thing, fellas. Screw ups. I have made more than my fair share of mess ups. And I'm telling you, if any of when you get to meet my wife, because she is divine, this woman, I married up big time. I can tell you this. I have learned so many valuable lessons and distinctions. And what's gotten me through all of this is the love of friends and family, but even more so my creator. I'm a devout man of God. I'm faithful. I am driven. I am hungrier today at 57 than I was in my 20s. And I am not afraid to step up in body, mind, or spirit.
Come on.
Just know this. I'm here to serve you. I am here because God gave me the capacity to connect with people and to help others understand and create plans of execution in collusion with my brother from another, Jeremy, to get you the results that you need. I'm not here to fix you. We're here to guide you. We're here because together we are stronger and unstoppable. The world heals by having better men. And if you have a daughter, and I'm just going to be very candid about this, I have 2 beautiful young ladies in my life. I pray that they find strong men, honest men, integrous men, men of content and character, intellect, humor, and devout forgiveness for self and others that will allow them to have the relationships that they deserve in their lives. Because I got to tell you, I'm seeing a bunch of boys walking around in this world right now, and God knows, you know, we need at minimum high level princes, but striving to be kings.
Mm-hmm.
And so, thank you, Jeremy, for allowing me to be here with you all and to participate. Man, I wouldn't have missed this day for anything in the world. And God bless you for creating an accountability group that really is going to hold people to a standard of excellence in body, mind, and spirit. I'm going to turn it back over to you, brother. I love you, man.
Yeah, amen. And another reason that I wanted to shine a light on Chuck and also bring him and make him a part of this family is because, again, I've been a part of 17 or 18 other men's groups, and a lot of them are very, very purpose driven, but most of them do have a little bit of sprinkle of dark energy, and that's kind of their main focus, right? Do hard things all the time, kill your body all the time, hurt yourself, and then you know, don't feel good enough ever, and you're always tired. And it's like, okay, also let's do a bunch of drugs and get really drunk and then like talk about our feelings. And the reason, you know, the reason people love drugs, because they work. That's why people love them. They work. I'll tell you that right now. But so can you. Everything that a drug can do for your body, you can do for yourself. Right? Every feeling that you can create synthesized is synthesized in your body first. And that's the reason I brought Chuck in, because he is a healer of light. He is very, very bright. He is very heart driven, and he is full of integrity. And I love having his son here too. My man Cole. Cole was and is a bright, bright star in the King's program, and I appreciate being here, man. So this is a family affair, gentlemen. It's something that I really just love that you're all here. And just to speak on these 5 little elements really quick, I think you all probably agree that most men at some stage are going to suffer intense stress about providing for their family and achieving financial stability. If this isn't the number one thing on your mind, number 2 probably isn't that great. I think most men, as a provider, right, that's really what we're here to do. This is probably our number 1 stress. And this number 1 stress will eventually trickle down into other areas of your life as well, right? That stress of money. But that's one thing I would love for all of you to know as part of the roundtable, as part of this men's group, this accountability group for the 1% man. In order to be a 1% man, you got to be in the 1%. I want to help you do all that as well financially. I have figured that part out of my life. I got that part as a check mark. Doesn't mean I do not worry or stress about money sometimes, but thankfully it's far, far less than how can I spend less time working and spending more time on me. Asking different questions. One of the things that plagues me the most is how can I ask the perfect question to myself today to get the perfect answer. Also, we all know about the health piece, so the roundtable is devoted to health. Thank you to Shar for saying that. I look like I lost a little bit of weight. I did, man. I'm in great shape. I don't know necessarily if I'd say I'm in the best shape of my life right now. I have a 3-week-old boy, so I'm working on that balance a little bit. But I'm at least in really good shape. I could do an Ironman tomorrow, but I couldn't do an Ultraman tomorrow. And that frustrates me. An Ultraman is double Ironman. I couldn't do that tomorrow. And that kind of frustrates me. So I'm working on the physical health. But again, there is a science behind it. And I have studied with and worked with amazing, amazing men on the physical health component. The marriage, a lot of you are married. Some of you are single. That's okay. But if you're married, at some stage, there's probably a really good chance you're going to fall into a routine. And then I would simply say, if you're not married, because you're probably divorced if you're not married, or you're under the age of 30. It's one of those 2 things. If you're under the age of 30, hey, good for you. Your time is coming. You got plenty of time. But if you're over the age of 30, you're probably divorced. Like me. I've been divorced once. It sucks. You know why divorces are so expensive? Because they're worth it. But the truth is, I would love for all of you to avoid that next divorce. I would love for you to be with a woman, gentlemen, you ready for this, that supports you fully, that shows up for you all the time, that listens to you, and can we say this without saying this? And I'm gonna say this anyway. Have sex with you whenever you want, and it's an amazing, really awesome experience, the way that you want it to be. Right? The dirty, filthy, animalistic way, not the like, oh, let's kiss on the lips and then maybe I get off type of thing. It's like, no, be with a woman that is extremely divine and charismatic and admires you, worships you, honors you. We think as men that starts with them, right? It doesn't start with them. It's not something that they do. It's something that you do. Because as a man, our energy is, we have the ability to command that. But one of the reasons that a lot of us do not have the relationships that we want and or the body that we want and or the money that we want is because you feel really stressed out about time, right? How do we juggle work, family, personal issues? All that's a perpetual challenge, and all that's probably leading to burnout. And so if you feel that there's too much on your plate, all I'm asking for is to give yourself a little bit of time to reevaluate your life and consider working with a group of men that allow you to just create a shift where your life becomes what's most important and what's most paramount. Because a king, and I would love to tell you a little bit more about the king energy in just a moment. That's going to be, again, this webinar is scheduled for 90 minutes, as all of them will be. So we have plenty of time. I'm going to give you some more information. But kings, they do have actual beautiful amounts of money. They have a very, very vital physical health, extremely aware of nourishing their body and nourishing their food. And they can take their shirt off wherever they go and feel good about it. They are prioritizing their partner, but they feel a deep, deep sense of communicable trust. Gentlemen, you know this to be true. When the trust goes down, the lust goes down. And if in your brain you're like, dude, my wife hasn't just absolutely crushed my dick in like 17 weeks, it's because you're doing something wrong. She probably doesn't trust you. That's the reality. And I know we all have that desire because we're all men. I get it. You don't have to placate. I fully understand where you're at and your emotions and that you feel totally sexually left out. If you're in a marriage, or again, if you're in a relationship and you're not married yet. But it has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with us. And once we realize that, and we start really owning that, we are able to take some shifts. Josh wasn't able to make it here today, but he'll be the first to tell you this dude right here 3 years ago was a nobody. No one. He existed. This man existed, and his wife was one of those stunning, successful, seven-figure earner, drop-dead gorgeous, hilarious, creative, and he was an absolute bum. He's a 6'5", tatted up bum. He drank not even Bud Light. He drank Busch Light, 12 of them every night. Had a government job, made $80,000 a year and had a 401k, and knew that his wife wouldn't leave him. He knew. And when it eventually happens, he started shifting. And I cracked the dude's spirit wide open. Because the coolest part is, I don't think anyone on this call is going to ever be able to break me. But I will break you. And this man got cracked wide open and is now living his most bright, vital life, just had another baby. Him and his wife are actually in love and not together. You guys ever heard that before? Right? They're in love. And I can't wait for you all to meet him in this particular group and to be in this guy's energy more frequently. So really quick, before I get into some of the details, if you have a phone, if you want to scan this, All I want to do is just let you know that I would like you to make a commitment to yourself at some point. If next Saturday is not the perfect day to be a part of this and continue this program, fine. I still have 45 more minutes of content that I want to go over, but you can scan this with your phone. I made this very, very economical because I do not want you to create the excuse that you don't have the money. And I made it very, very easy. It's early Saturday mornings, once a week. But I will show up and I will give you the best version of me and I will help you bring out the best version of you. So I'm going to have all of you read this if that's okay, just for a moment. Now, I just want you all to know there will be a Divine King program that starts in October. This is not the program. This is just an accountability group. But I want you to be able to see what people enter when they get into this container. All right? Because some of them have mentioned it. And again, I'm not asking that you have to do this for life. Gentlemen, I know all of you, one of your biggest fears is the fear of commitment. I get that. Okay? I understand. You're scared of commitment because you've been burned. I get it. But I'm not asking to do it forever. I'm just saying for a period of time, no consumption of alcohol, drugs of any kind, nicotine, cigarettes, or vaping. When my men who enter the program, which won't start again until October, when they get into this, it's 7 weeks long. Guess what happens in 7 weeks? When they can't take the edge off and they have to deal with their emotions at night. Because it's the weekends that get you, gentlemen. It's those hours between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m., right, Sam? It's those weekends where you're kind of totally by yourself and you're like, it's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but I guess I could start hitting the bong a little bit and just kind of vibe out and put on some music. That'll be okay. It's been 2 weeks. You will find out why it's so important because I will challenge you in a container that is a very, very strong container of love and of growth. And when you start diving into your heart and what your heart's actually calling for, a lot of you, if you have been like me in the past, an alcoholic, and you were not able to control your alcoholism, you are still probably doing something else in massive excess that you're not proud of. You haven't been able to talk about it because you're going to feel judged. Hey, dude, you can't do worse than me. I'm not going to judge you. I know where you're at. It's okay. I get it. In the King's group, we're going to openly talk about porn addiction. We're going to openly talk about the cravings that you have that are unfulfilled. We're going to have these discussions because who am I to judge you? I would never do that. All right, brothers and kings, we never judge. So that's just an idea. Now, I would love for all of you to do this with me. I'm going to call on you if your camera's on. Thank you for putting your camera on and for being brave. I'm going to call on some of you at random to read part of this. This is something that I wrote that we read in class 1 of the Divine Kings program. I figured it'd be a great time to do this now. Is the time of the awakened man. And this is my quote, and I would love for all of us to kind of read this little excerpt that I put together really quick. I know some of you are driving, so I won't call on those who are driving, make you feel stupid. So I'm just going to call on Matthew really quick. Matthew, do you mind reading this paragraph for me, brother, please?
Am I the only Matt, or is there another Matthew?
Yep, you crushed it.
A man's journey is about protection. He must create both the energy and space which allows his spirit to complete its mission of elevation from darkness into light. Men are forged in darkness, but we stay boys until we use our light for protection. The shield that we use as protectors is our heart, and no longer the walls of pain and conformity we once believed there for safety.
My man. All right. Mark, you're next. Oh, you just went off camera. All right. Jesse Cunningham.
Hold on a second. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good. All right. The awareness of calamity is only the internal battle of prosperity versus poverty. Our safety is our power, which is harnessed from all those who have come before us and will come after us. We are the feet of the world, the shoulders of giants, and the rocks used to build the roads of freedom, victory, and conquest.
How true does that feel, Jesse, to you?
Man, I love it. To be honest with you. Man, the feet of the world, shoulders of giants. I mean, that's if you're a father you can probably relate to that right away, right there. As a veteran, that's a big part of me right there too.
Mhm.
It looks like a challenge that we all have taken on. But for me, when I see that, I just want to be better and crush that.
Amen. That's right. All right, Sammy, you're next. Oh, can't hear you. But I did see you unmuted, so I don't know why it didn't work. I'll give you a second. You just come on the mic and let me know when you pop on and I. Alex, you want to read this one for me, Alex?
Sure. A true king understands love because he is loved. He is the operator of divine masculine energy that protrudes into those around him, offering a sanctuary of safety, calmness, healing, power, conviction, integrity, and liberation. A man's desire for freedom will only allow for his kingship once he has provided for others.
Yeah, love that. Yes. And Justin, this one's for you. If you're able to, I don't think you might be in the car, but if you're able to read it.
Justin, me or Justin, the other one?
Yeah, you. And I'll do Riley next.
No longer shall you escape into the fields of settling. You have been called into the next realm. Oh, shoot. Computer just froze up. Sorry about that. It happens.
All right.
I have my camera on in a Zoom meeting and we're sharing screens.
All good. I'll go with Justin Riley then. Justin Riley, how about your other Justin?
Right on. No longer shall you escape into the fields of settling. You have been called into your next realm of leadership, of divinity, of true understanding of your power as the protector of humanity. This is our purpose, men, to show the world what compassion feels like, what conviction looks like, and what community heals like.
Yeah. Amen. Yes. All right. Ramey.
Your tribe and your family will always be a direct reflection of your truest fears and your deepest regrets, along with your carnivorous canyons that ate your emotions and hid your light from the world. You can no longer play small and dabble with decimals. Divine kingship is focused on absolute creation, safety, stability, and solitude.
Yes. All right. Sammy, you want to try it again? If not, we'll go to Craig.
All right. Did it work this time?
There we go. I can
All
hear
right.
you, man.
All right. It is a time to embrace the fullness that resides within you and complete your conquest of greatness, remembrance, legacy, and divine freedom. This fast is for your feet. It is time. Walk it, run it, finish it, and smile with each mile. Love it.
That's it. So, gentlemen, when I was writing that, it's almost kind of like the memoir for what an awakened man is. Right? It's time for us to stop escaping into the field of settling. You know how many men that I work with that their biggest dream in life is to make a couple $1 million, put it into a savings account, get 5% a year, buy a bunch of acreage in the middle of nowhere, and never talk to another human again? I know that's what you want. Why not? It's easy, it's simple, it's fun, it's exciting. What I would encourage you to do is if you feel that sense of freedom, if you feel that sense of this is really all I want to do in my life, do it in a small fashion. Fill your heart up with that period of time, 2 to 3 weeks, with you and your family, no electronics, in a camping tent in the middle of nowhere. But we can't run away from our problems. That's what that is, gentlemen. I know it's easier. I get that it's simpler. I'm aware of that. But what I want to do is I'm going to walk you through the evolution of a man. I want to show you where most of you are and what that looks like. And this information is extremely rare. I don't believe that you'll find this anywhere else that I've seen in existence right now. But I'm aware, and I want you to be aware, that this is a true evolution of where we start. And we all know that we all have to start out as boys. Every one of us, I have 3 boys right now in my house. But the unfortunate truth is some grown ass men stay this way forever. Boys, their very, very, very first instance is they're going to blame others. That's how you know. When you're talking to another guy and he immediately starts going into a story about how someone else screwed him over, the wife, the ex, the kids, their boss, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, whatever. They start blaming others immediately. I already know they're a boy. That's the energy of boys. Who here, type in 1 if you have boys at home, right? You probably have 2 or 3, but you guys have got, if you got a bunch of, or, you know, girls, this works for girls too, although we're not here to discuss that energy on this particular call. But the boy energy is very much the, hey, why'd you do that? You're looking at your 9-year-old. What? I didn't do that. He did that. I didn't knock the vase over. It's like, I literally just saw you knock it over with my own eyes. Like, I didn't do that. Like, it was gravity. That was the ceiling fan, right? We've all experienced that. And it's okay. We all smile as dads, right? Because they're young and we get it. And we're trying to do our best to teach them not to lie and teach them to be honest and teach them to be accountable. But that's the boy energy. Boys are also careless and they need to be taken care of. Most boys, some of them still live with their parents or not far from their parents. Some of them are married, but their wife does everything. The wife cooks, the wife cleans, laundry, food, puts the diapers and the sunscreen in the bag. All you do is carry the bag, right? You're not sitting down thinking about how I can make everyone's life easier. You're just being taken care of, and your job, your one thing is to make money. That's all you do. Good for you. Well done. That's nice. I'm glad you make money. Here's a very great marker of a boy. They use age to escape because they're a victim. They can't deal with the outside world. Boys don't want to take responsibility for what they did, what they created, and they use guilt and shame as a defense. An older boy will always think they're smart. You guys remember when you were 15, 16, 17? You're like, my parents are some stupid people on planet Earth. They are so dumb. I wish they knew all the things I knew. I mean, whatever. I was like that. Sure. None of you guys were. That's okay. But I was like that. Like, gosh, I can't wait to get out of my own so I can show them how easy this stuff is. Boys think they're smart, which means that they do not generally think that there's any reason to grow. They don't think there's any reason to dive really deep into the depths of their soul. What's the truth? Well, the truth is they are aware of what they are aware of. That's it. And the unfortunate truth is in the sex department, right? Because generally, if you're a man, you're going to be wanting to do this a lot. You want to have sex, but it's all about personal satisfaction. It's selfish. It's usually pretty short, gentlemen. It's kind of one-sided. And it's a very scared feeling for the woman. She's not really, really loving this. Had an amazing conversation this morning at 6 a.m. when I was doing an ice bath. Getting a gnarly workout in. Is one of the gentlemen there was talking about his sexual experiences and his sexual life and was saying, he was like, a year ago, it was Pound Town 101. My job was a jackhammer. That was it. And then I realized my wife didn't like that very much. And I was like, whoa, hey, at least you figured it out. A lot of guys don't. Right? The jackrabbit approach. That's it. That's their thought process. They haven't become aware that it's okay to have the emotional and depth conversation, that there is a different way for us to experience this energy. And that's what a boy energy is. And again, this is where some of you are. Not all of you, but some of you. You may or may not know this. You may or may not feel this, but most of you probably are going to really, really relate to the prince. Again, this is the evolution of a man. Now, a prince is all about building his kingdom. It's all about achievement. Make as much money as possible. It's all about one thing, dollars. That's it. The prince is building his kingdom. He's all about achievement. He can take care of himself. So he's by himself. He's at least moved out of his house with his parents. But that's about all he's figured out. He's trying to solve all of the world's problems, all of his family problems, and all of his problems with what? Money. The prince is very competitive, very ego-driven. He does take responsibility for his actions. He'll say, you know what, this, it was kind of my fault. And that's because he thinks he's so smart, right? Princes are very, very competitive. They're very ego-driven. This is how you can meet a prince. Someone will walk up to you and go, hey, hi, Sam. What's your name? Sam? Your name's Sam? My name's Jeremy. I made $180,000 last year. Look at my Rolex. It's really nice. You probably don't have a Rolex, do you? Oh. All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to go get my Aston Martin, if that's okay. And I'm going to go bang my wife at the house. You guys all know the guys I'm talking about. Now, outwardly, that ego competitive energy is okay because it's a requirement. In fact, again, as I'm mentioning the evolution of a man, boys are boys until they have a huge cataclysmic event in their life that creates so much pain they have to shift. Oftentimes, it is a divorce or a death. For me, it was both. All right, the death of my father, the death of my best friend, one of my closest relatives, and a divorce, pretty much all in the same couple of months. So that huge shift allows you to wake up and go, wait a minute, I'm a piece of garbage. Let me go try to actually build my kingdom. Let me go get people to try to like me. Because as a bully, no one notices you. You're not admired by anyone. No one reaches out to you for anything. You always reach out to them because you're so smart. Princes, on the other hand, they're calling, these guys are the king of the MLM. Multi-level marketing scheme. Like a prince is the top of a pyramid scheme. And the reason I'm saying that this is most men is because it's all about achievement. There is a level in the mind that says, when I get this, then I feel this way. And they aren't sure exactly how to feel without having. They don't know how to feel sexually happy without having sex. They don't know how to feel rich and wealthy without having money in their bank. They don't know how to feel because they're always trying to find himself. That's what the prince is doing. Most men will die this way because it's very, very challenging to go from a prince to a king. It takes a lot of inner work. And gentlemen, if you're wondering, can you slip back into different stages? Absolutely. Right? You can give a king 3 days on 3 hours of sleep and no food, no sex. There'll be a point in time where he's going to be pretty boyish. And I'm sure some of you have been there. I've been there a few times recently, right? It's going to happen, but it's like, how long will you stay in that energy? Some people are boys 95% of the time, and the one time that their son wins a state cross-country championship, they feel like a king. And they act very outwardly and very kingly for that 2 minutes, 2 hours. That's it. These energies, yes, gentlemen, they will fluctuate. So if you feel like one of these two really stood out to you, just be aware that, yes, you can absolutely have qualities and attributes of all three men, of all evolutions. But it's how long you stay there. Because going from a prince to a king is about learning how to feed both wolves adequately. In fact, Calvin, he had to step away right after that phone call. He hopped on another workout. And he said, I like what you said today about vices actually not feeding either wolf. The vices are actually just how we deal with not feeding them enough. Because the light wolf, right, the protection wolf, the caring, loving, healing wolf, how often do you think your wife has given you the compliment that you healed her today? I'm not saying you have to be like a weird mystic and wear, white clothes like I am right now and like shuffle around everywhere and just like do yoga all day. And that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, does she feel that when she hugs you, you heal her energy, you restore her balance? Or better yet, when's the last time that you had an embrace with your wife for more than 23 seconds? This is a big deal, guys. That's why I'm putting this together. That's why me and Chuck are creating this. This is a big deal. When we fix these problems, we don't have to we don't have to look on stage and see two 79-year-old plus old men pretending they're able to do something with this country. You both, everyone here we know we're picking the lesser of two evils. Again. I'm not saying anything against Trump or Biden. I don't like the fact that they're 80. That's what I don't love. That's a grandfather. Dude should be playing chess and pickleball, not being the commander-in-chief of the country. We have to fix this, gentlemen. We do. I know it's easier not to. Trust me, I get it. I would much rather, on an ease basis, just go buy 100 acres in Montana and never talk to anyone again. I get it. That is easier. And so it's that element of shift. It's the element of, wait a minute, I need to start caring about my community, because a king is a man of protection, a man of great values and honor, a leader in his community and his family. Chuck nailed it. A king builds a kingdom for all. Absolutely the case. And a king lives in his purpose. He knows what it is and he's doing it. A king is very confident but humble. I'll give you a quick definition of the word humility for me. My definition of the word humility is saying yes without having to tell the story. You know how some guys, they just can't wait to get to a party so they can tell the dudes all the things they did last week, right? And sometimes, depending on where you are in your life, sometimes just like how much you drank. Bro, you wouldn't believe, dude, last night I got so fucked up. I had like 9 shots of tequila, and then I took 7.5 milligrams. Right? And you're bragging about how much you drank or ate or how you had sex with a hot girl. And a king doesn't have to be married to be a king, but it's generally the case. But the example of a king is if everyone knows he partied with his wife finally, and they went out and had a nice little time out. Someone might ask him, hey, did you and your wife go out last night? And you can go, yeah. Jeremy, did you run 100 miles last week? I did. There's no urge for me to tell you anything because I'm not doing it for you. I'm not doing it for you. A king will know what he's very good at, and he will know what he's not good at. When's the last time you heard a politician say, oh, I don't know? That's actually a really good question. I have no idea. I'm not really sure. You know, that's a really good point. Let's look into that. Let's try to figure out how we can solve that solution. I don't know how to do that. A king doesn't have to speak to be heard. They are wise. And they are a master of something. Now, this is what a lot of you will think, all right, this is my quality of kingship. And I would agree. A lot of you might say, hey, Newsom, I'm not a king, but man, I know this part of my life. I know this mastery. And it's usually your job. Great. That's awesome. It's definitely a component. But as you start becoming aware of the different evolutions and energies that embody all men, you will also become aware to the knowledge of that you need to master something else other than you. That's a good one, but let's do some other things. You don't have to tell me the answer. When's the last time anyone here prayed for 12 hours straight? I mean, you claim that you fear God. You claim to believe in whatever you believe in. When's the last time you proved it? But you'll work 12 hours, no problem. That's easy. That's called Tuesday morning, right? Again, I'm giving you that shift because I'm asking you, where do really your priorities lay? You say that you're the master of your job. Are you really? When's the last time you tweaked and adjusted? When's the last time you went, am I really as good as I think I am? The awareness is what takes a king into a prince. Can I tell you the story of my awareness really quick? I was a king, I was a prince until March 9th of 2020. And that was until I was 32. And I got my anointment. I'll tell you what the anointment was. On March 7th, and this is COVID, I'm single at this time, right? Single and looking to mingle. I wish I was making this up. 4 days ago, 4 days before that, I was in New York City, banging bitches and getting drunk and running all around Manhattan and Brooklyn. It was awesome. Flew to Salt Lake City, was in Salt Lake City. The whole world was shutting down. Flew from Salt Lake City to Las Vegas for two purposes. I had scheduled what was called a spiritual healing, which sounded really weird and pretty awkward. And I was like, I don't want to do that. That sounds strange. Scheduled a spiritual healing and signed up for a Spartan race that was in Vegas. And I thought to myself, there's no way that the Spartan race will shut down because of COVID. Well, so as I flew into the Las Vegas airport, the whole world shut down. For the first time in human history, Vegas was closed. No hotels, the strip was done, all the things. And I had scheduled a spiritual healing. And so I reached out to the lady that I scheduled the spiritual healing with and asked if I could stay with her because all the hotels were closed. And she said, yes, sure. Now, that lady and I did have a history. We had known each other, but kind of like probably I know most of you. Like I know you, you know me, but like have we bled together? Most of you probably not, right? So you don't really know me. Now, so I know this person. I know of this person. I have a healing with her. Now in this healing, I'm spooked out, by the way, right? She's speaking in Hebrew. She has crystals everywhere. She has like wind chimes and shit that make weird sounds. And she's praying prayers over me, and my body starts like convulsing and I can't control it. I'm freaking out. I think like I'm trying to remember, did I drink anything? Did I eat anything? Right? I feel like she put me under a spell. I have no idea what's going on. 3 hours later, the healing is over and my eyes are leaking. I haven't cried up until this point since my dad died. And even then, I had to finish a fifth of vodka and orange crush soda just to cry. Sorry in advance, Derek. I apologize for that. So that was the only way I could get emotions out of my face, was to get really, really blackout drunk. I don't know if it's just me. That's the only way I ever felt anything. But for the first time, my eyes are just leaking. And so this woman looked at me and she says, are you tired of playing small? Are you done escaping into the fields of settling and being the most basic bro version of yourself? Are you ready for more money, more responsibility, more power, more purpose? And I said, yes. So I married her 8 months later. And she still continues to pour in incredible amounts of wisdom and love into my life. But that was my anointment. That was when I went, okay, this is for real. And then ever since that day, I have said yes to whatever request she gives me. The weirder the request, the better. And I promise, gentlemen, I've done some weird things with some weird people that speak to people that aren't even here anymore. And I'm still terrified sometimes about meeting these people because I don't know what they can see or what they can feel. And it's kind of strange. But my mom now talks to me. Me and my dad are good. I have seen other men fix their relationships with their dad and their mom who they've hated for most of their life. And that's because there are certain practices, there are certain modalities. Doing all this drug-free since 2018, there are certain principles and practices that if you do the right combinations with the right people at the right time, you'll change your entire world. That's what a king is. That was my anointment. And since then, I've been working a lot on the energy of the divine king. And the divine king is someone who hears from God and has the courage to say yes. That's the big one. All of you at some point in your life have heard this. Sometimes it's an audible voice. It's never an audible voice for me. I've never heard, right? There's never been like this, oh, what? Some people claim that they do that. That's awesome for them. But for me, it's like this, it's like right here. It's like a feeling. I remember being in a meditation retreat back in 2017 where the orator said, listen to your heart. And I was like, what the does that mean? We mean listen to your heart. I don't even know what that means. I know what it means, but what does it mean though? Like how? How do you actually listen to it? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't say anything. It beats. It keeps you alive. You know what she said? You're such a cute boy. That's what that lady said to me. So I had to learn. I had to learn what that was. And the big word of the divinity, gentlemen, because you were all created in the likeness of divinity. Would you agree? You were created in the image of greatness. So we are all elements and components of that love. God is love. Therefore, we, gentlemen, need to embody unequivocally the most beautiful element of love possible. And that takes courage. It is scary because you're like, I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't have the body. I don't have the wife. I don't have the conviction. I don't have the purpose. I don't have it. I know. The courage is saying yes. If you're still taking notes, just in case you are, I see a few of you with pens and paper. Write this down. This is really good for me. This is a big one for me. This changed my life. Thanks, Frank. All right, here we go. You guys ready? Fear, F-E-A-R, fear is what if. Fear is what if. Faith is even if. I'm sure a lot of you have heard potentially or hopefully my podcast with Brittany Turner called Broke to Woke. And it's such an honor to work with her because I characterize her as someone who actually hears from God or the universe or divine, call it whatever you want. Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, whoever you talk to. I feel like she hears this element, this source. And the back end of that, when we record our podcast, we hit play. There are no notes. There are no scripts. What we're doing and what we try our best to do in this podcast is channel. We just want to hear and to speak whatever. I said this randomly And one of the episodes last season, I was like, damn, that's good. I know where that came from. I just like, wow, said it. I was like, whoa, that's awesome. Because I'm working on really listening more, gentlemen. Listening to whoever or whatever. I'm still working on that myself. All right. Some of you have a lot more faith and conviction than I do on certain things. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. But I do live in my purpose. I do honor Earth, and I honor all of you for being here. But I want you to know that either one of these requires you to believe in something that you can't see anyway. You can't see fear, you can't see faith, but either one of you are believing in something that hasn't happened yet. And Divine King is all courage, says yes, even though the path isn't there. So, as I've said before, this is an open call. We only want roundtable members who are willing to invest time, take action, be open. This is not a sales pitch. This is very clean, very simple. If you want to be a part of the roundtable, which will be this time every Saturday, I would love to have you. It's that simple. I will change your life if you let me. I sent something to my social media team 2 nights ago. I just loved it. I just think that this is, I don't know. If you hang out with me long enough, I will brainwash you into believing that you can do anything. If you want more of that in your life, just hang out with me for a while. I want you to continually understand that you can make tweaks to your life. And if you can make those tweaks, if you make those tweaks with me, with Chuck, with Raimi, with Craig, with Alex, with Calvin, you will have strong relationships with your family. You will make more money. That's a bold statement to say. It's very easy for me. Money is the easiest energy. I've mastered money a long time ago. I got it. Gentlemen, I'm
You say brainwash. You say brainwash, but it becomes a reality too. It does. It's not just a thought. It becomes your reality. It's crazy. That doesn't make sense, but it will happen. Yeah.
Well, it happens because we have guidance, gentlemen. That's it. That's why it really will happen. I'm not selling you a pill. I'm not saying, hey, drink this special substance and your life will change. It's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm not telling you to go to Costa Rica and do an ayahuasca retreat. What I'm going to ask you to do is do really, really hard things that shouldn't be that hard, like praying for long periods of time, being silent for long periods of time, being sober for long periods of time, loving yourself way more than you love yourself now. And when you do that, you will grow spiritually. Isn't that what you want? Like, who here doesn't want to grow spiritually? And the closer you get to your spiritual apex, Joe Dispenza said it this way: when you and your spirituality finally become one, everything you want in your life happens instantly. The immaterial becomes material. Is that a crazy thought or what? But why would it not be? For whatever reason that we're here, whatever reason that the universe is infinitely huge, and whatever we're actually trying to do in life, I simply want you to live at your biggest potential. I took some super quick screenshots and just threw this in here really, really quick. Edwin, who you're all going to meet soon, he'll be in the round table. He said, manifesting money, my pool liner faded, getting a new one for free, $15,000 value, got offered a private manager job today for $150,000. This is a guy who reached out to me on Instagram like 6-7 months ago, depressed, fat, overweight, overworked, and undersexed. Hated his life a little bit. And it had nothing to do with what I did. It had everything to do with him taking accountability for himself and saying, I want to be a really, really, really great man. And then he said, my relationship with money has changed. It wants to be with me. He said he found a $20 bill in the parking lot after the interview. Is that stupid or what? this sounds like I'm selling something really insane. Like there's not a sales pitch here. It's really easy. It's just kind of funny. But again, it's money. Money is a relationship energy, gentlemen. That's what it is anyway. And then this is another picture. I took it from, this is a guy from Josh. Talked to my dad finally. Really wasn't that bad. Just like catching up with someone you've known your whole life but haven't talked to in a while. I mean, for a lot of you, that might be like, yeah, whatever, Newsom. But most of you have some type of dad problem or mom problem. Shit, I had both, dude. But I finally fixed them. Ain't got no dad problems. Even though he's dead, me and him hang out when we need to. And I ain't got no mom problems. Other than she texts me a little bit too much. But I'm glad that I have unlimited texting. You guys remember that wasn't a thing? You had to pay for each text back in like what, 2006? I just want you all to heal, gentlemen. I just want you all to become the best versions of yourself. I hope I taught you something today. I hope I made you smile, get some energy, see a new perspective. We will be here every Saturday going forward. This is where we're at. If you know it's finally time to do something a little bit new, a little bit unique, I would love to work with you. Mark, hit me, my dude.
Hey, Jeremy, what's going on? Thank you so
guy.
much for everything. Quick question. Can you please put up the first slide of the boy? I missed the picture of that. And then also the QR code. Really appreciate that.
Done and done, Mark. Let's go back to the boy really quick. What stood out to you about that?
Well, you know, I have a 19-year-old son. Of course, he's a good kid, still in growth. I myself, you know, like you said, you know, I want to think of myself as a divine king, but I'm always in and out of a boy, a prince, a king, then divine, and, you know, kind of jumping around. So me and him are on this path together. I had him young. So he's 19, I'm 43, you know, and he's getting, you know, he's at that age where I didn't have any of this. So if I get him on this path earlier when he's 43, I mean, my God, you know, I hope he's you know, leaps and bounds beyond me. But yeah, that's pretty much why it stood out. I just want to show him.
Good. That is so good. Well, it kind of, because it makes me feel like, Mark, almost very similar to Chuck and Cole, right? I mean, because Cole, that's Chuck's son. Cole's 25.
Yes, it's you know, it's hard to be a young man, especially you know, we're all good fathers, and like you said, it definitely resonates with me about the community and you know, just being a tough man, but at the same time a loving man and a good man. You know, it's there's not a lot of that around, and this is a great community. I'm definitely very glad that Chuck you know, shot in the YBL you know, the link. But yeah,
thanks, Mark.
It resonates. I thank you for your time today.
Oh man, my pleasure, brother. And I love how you said that, where, gentlemen, you all know this, right? With our work, our wife, and our kids, it's like that tough love, but still being a nice guy and not being an absolute angry a-hole all the time, but doing what dads need to do, which is saying no.
Yeah.
That's all we're here for. Like we got to be the bad guy, but we got to be strong enough to be the bad guy.
There's two wolves. There's still two wolves, brother. There's still two wolves, and they're always there.
Always there, dude.
That's why it's a wolf pack. It's not, and there's multiples of you. Your son's energy, your wife's energy, your girl's energy. They all commingle. And this is where the king steps in, because he looks at life as this synergy of everything, but he needs to be the king. It's not a want. He needs to be the king so he can show up fully. It doesn't mean that we're not going to slip back and forth. And it happens all the time.
All the time, yes.
Where you're living 80% of the time can help you shift.
Yeah. Yes. Jesse said, this dude is my twin. I have a 19-year-old Marine son. I love that, Jess. Well, hey, man, again, we need great men so we can have these conversations. I mean, that's really what it's about. As simple as that. And I fell into this accidentally. Again, I got pushed a little bit, as you know, right? My wife asked me to do this. So I am going to give you all a homework. Super easy. I would love for you to join and be a part of the roundtable. It's going to be a very, very great group. It's extremely simple. If you've been a king before and you know who you are, if you've been a part of the Divine Kings, it's a little bit less pricey. If you have never been into the Divine Kings program, it's a little bit more pricey. Once you go through the Kings program, you can enter the roundtable at the lower price. It's very simple. The Kings program doesn't start until October. I'm only going to be doing, because it's a very, very, very sacred container. And I only keep it for a very limited amount of dudes, because we go deep and I talk to every single one of them. Chuck talks to every single one of them. We have coaching sessions together, blah, blah, blah. Saying all of that to say, if you know you're in for October, you can sign up. I'm only doing 24 people because it's the year of 24. That's it. 24 people into the Kings program. If you want to be a part of it, fantastic. I really hope I was able to give you one piece of information that made this 90 minutes worth it for you, gentlemen. Does anyone have any questions? We still have a couple minutes left. If anyone has anything?
Andres?
Yeah, Andres, hit me.
I just wanted to kind of mention, because I'm one of the babies in the group, I guess. I'm only about 20, but I'm really into anthropology and religion and all of that. And what you were talking about with the two wolves and kind of the divine and dark masculinity. And if there's one thing I could pass along to literally any human being, it's the Epic of Gilgamesh. It's a very short story, and it's kind of just the hero's journey of a king that meets his, I guess his reflection, right? His boy persona, and has to go through this whole hero's journey to just kind of realize that being a man isn't about, being a king and just like having money and women and killing people. And it's very valuable. So it made me appreciate all the things that you were saying a lot more.
Yes, dude. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. Who was 20 and read the Epic of Gilgamesh? God, I was an idiot at 20 years old. Jeez. Mark, I'm so happy. Mark, I'm so happy that you're pouring into your son, and Jesse, same for you and everyone else who has kids out there. I know Phil, you and Zeke, like you pour into that kid every single day. Gentlemen, I'll end with this. Great dads, great fathers, great men. You're supposed to, at some point, feel like you're doing something. Great dads feel. And so when you're a little too harsh, you said that word a little too loudly, and you're like, oh, man, I'm a bad dad. Actual bad dads never feel that. Keep that in mind. Actual, real shithole dads never actually feel. They just keep going. And if you had a dad like that, I would love to help you heal from that experience. I'm very, very excited to be with all of you. We'll add all of you to the WhatsApp group. For everyone who signs up, you're going to get added to the WhatsApp group. We're going to start today. I'll be posting some workouts, and we're just going to hang out. I'm not going to overwhelm you, gentlemen. I'm not going to pressure you. I know that your time is your most valuable asset, but we're going to be making tweaks every week to your mindset, and we're going to grow a group of men where you can ask any question. From dick size to account balances, from credit to hot air balloons and the manufacturing of, I was trying to pick something really cool, whatever, right? Steel manufacturing. Like, we have a great, amazing, powerful group of men that can answer and help and really provide value. Phil, yep, I'll get you the link. My man, I know you're driving. So, gentlemen, thank you for being in my life. Jens?
Yeah, I want to mention the in-person event, which is another cool part of the Divine King course. We're getting all together for 3 or 4 days, I think.
Yep.
So that's maybe another component you want to mention. And everybody's getting together in person.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, for every King's course, there is a live retreat at the end. Once I know everyone's energy and I know what they need and what they want. So in October, when Chuck and I host the 4th Divine Kings group, we'll probably have another in-person event sometime in February, March. And I do throw it out to other people as well who have already been a part of the group. Are we going to have roundtable meetups? Of course. Of course. Because I feel like my life is meaningless if I don't put you sweaty, shirtless, hairy monsters on my back and climb some hills. All right. I feel like my life has no meaning if I don't get to bleed and sweat and wreck my calves with each and every one of you. All right. Right, Jose?
He loves those hills. He loves those hills.
Love them because they will wreck your. Yeah, no man here has an ego when running up a hill. That is the truth. If you need any additional assistance or you want to share someone, share the link with someone, you can just go to jeremynewsome.com. Also, this is where everything is at, and just click on Divine King Mastermind. But I'll send you all the links. But this is the copy. I would love to be a part of it. Again, non-alumni pricing, it's nothing, and it's even less once you have gone through the program. And again, if anybody does want to be a part of the King's program, this does include, like I said, it starts in October. It does include your retreat ticket as well. Gentlemen, that's it. I've had you for 92 minutes. I truly love you all. I care about your success more than anyone else that you know in your life. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next